Hello and welcome to this super simple and easy tutorial on how to make this not shit. In my own opinion, I think this D-pad is shit. I hate this D-pad with a burning passion, but this one that has been slightly enhanced / upgraded is a lot better, and I love it so much more, and I do this to every Game Boy that I own, which is 2. They are a lot better this way, in my opinion. They have the same actuation, and they don't, you can't press all the buttons at once, which is like kind of the whole point of a D-pad. These two that I had when they were in their original shells, I really just hated the D-pad. I don't know if it's just like a quality control thing, but it was mushy, and it like, you'd push forward and then it would feel like that action made an effort to keep, like, it changed the state of it, and then when you pushed back it felt different than it would if it was just like sitting and then you pressed it. I don't know, that doesn't make sense. It just felt like stuff was shifting around and not being consistent, and I didn't like it at all. I feel like it's a major complaint that I've seen people complaining about the D-pad. I think I even saw a video of someone adding, what are they called, like mechanical switches into it. I think that guy's a famous Game Boy modder. I really can't remember his name, so my bad. No offense. I've only seen like a few of your videos and you're really cool though. Discord. So this is my take on enhancing the D-pad with things that you can find around your house that make it act a lot better. The only thing you can see is probably right in the center of this, but you can't because it has a fisheye effect and you don't even know what you're looking for. So whatever. Okay, so what you need is a D-pad. Just the plain old simple one. You probably have one, and that's why you want to fix it. Membrane, bottle cap lid, which I know that sounds super weird, but you need it. I don't know. So this is all about like tolerances and stuff, and changing the tolerances and the actuations and stuff of the D-pad itself so that it acts the way that you want it to. So for this, I have found this to be the right size. So this belongs to a Selection water bottle, just like a basic one. I don't know if other water bottles have thicker lids than this one does, but these are the types that I'm using. These are just like Selection brand whatever bottles. Kool-Aid in this one. Okay, so yeah, that's what I used for this one. Exactly the same every time, pretty much, because that's the tolerance that I need. The other thing you need is the 3M tape that comes in a glass screen lens. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I will show you what I'm talking about, if I can find one. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. So this big square in the center, you need to take that out and save it, because you're going to need it, and it's going to be your best friend. Okay. So that's what this is right here. Well, this one has a crease on it. I mean, that really doesn't matter. That won't change anything, I don't think. Okay, so what you need to do is, the first thing is we're going to put a hole into this. I have a really weird tool. You probably don't have one of these. This is a leather punch. Creates consistent small holes every time, mostly every time, and it has tons of different settings. The one I use the most is this one, because it's the one that fits this and this. So this has to be able to go into here. That's like the main point of the shape of this membrane. So what you're going to do is put a hole into this. I'm just doing it loosely because you do a lot of trimming after anyways, so it doesn't really have to be exact. So I'm cutting a hole right there. I have to turn this one around a bit because this is really old. This has been in my family for like many years, before I was alive. So now that you have a hole in there, it needs to be at least this or slightly bigger. You need to be able to get this membrane into that hole. Since it's rubber, this one will work just fine. But that's the main thing that we're going for. now that it's cut like that, I'm just going to cut this to a little square. I can get it out and work on it better. Cool. That's what we have. We have a spacer now, and it's sticky, so we can stick it to this side. So what I'm going to do is, it really doesn't matter what side, they're about the same. This one's slightly more oleophobic, I feel, by just touching it. So I guess it really doesn't matter. I'm going to take off this side of the sticky tape. I can't use my fingernails because I don't have any. I guess I'm taking off this side. And my fingers are super dry because of all this sanitizing from COVID. So tools are your best friend. Now when you line this up, you need to be very careful about it. There has to be a ring around it when you do so. So that looks pretty bang on. Cool. Looks great. Now what you're going to do is trim the edges, because you don't want random sticky bits in your Game Boy. At least I hope you don't, because I don't. But whatever, people can do whatever they want to their Game Boys. It's funny how Game Boys have become an art form as of late. Maybe before late, but yeah, just waiting for Nintendo to fucking cease and desist our asses. Whatever. Cool. Got that done. Ready, set, go. This needs to be able to go in here. So whatever you need to do to get it in there, just kind of like jam it in. I have to jam it in because the hole that I did was a little bit too tight. But that's fine because it's rubber and it doesn't really matter that much. Okay. Come on. There we go. So that's basically in. Not basically. It is in. So it'll feel weird. It's super weird because we're not done yet. The last thing you need is, see that little hole right there? This one. Oh, geez, that's a lot. You need to... Well, this is a lot too. You need to fill that hole. And what better to fill that hole with other than a piece of a bottle lid? Because it works perfectly for this. So I've cut one out. I used a tool from the dollar store. It's a sharp, rounded blade, and it's really good for cutting out random things. It's also really good for trimming default shells so that they fit with the IPS mod. But yeah, I just use it for this. I can actually just use this, but I don't because it's slightly too small. It's actually not too small. It just makes me feel uncomfortable. to be honest, you just need to fill this hole as much as you can. It can be from this size to this size. You just want it to be at least over half, because whatever is in here is going to wiggle around. Well, it won't really wiggle around with all the pressure, but the thought is if it did, it would still cover the center part that it needs to. So I made a bigger one because that way I won't even have to worry about it. Fingers. I don't have fingernails. So this one fits right there perfectly. Cool. Look at that. And then what you do is you put it in a Game Boy. And when you do that, it'll basically enhance the Game Boy D-pad. In my opinion, it makes it way better. So what you're doing is you're pushing this spot up, and then you're raising the pivot point. It won't wiggle around because the rubber's around it, and it's a pretty permanent solution. I've been using it nonstop for about 2 months now. No, maybe a month. I don't know. Lost track of time because of COVID, but I've been playing a lot of Game Boy, and the D-pad is fantastic now, in my opinion. It feels about the same, just more tightened up. Feels great. There was one other thing I was going to say, but I really can't remember what it is. Oh well. But yeah, I think this is a really good enhancement for the D-pad, and it really doesn't take a lot. You just need a few random things, and one of the things you probably already have. So you don't really have to scavenge for a lot of stuff. But now I remember the thing I was going to say. testing out D-pads in this thing, when you're like fiddling around with it to see if it like works properly, you screw in the back of the motherboard and you feel it, doesn't always equate to how it's going to feel when it's closed up. I tried a lot of different things to get like the right thickness of the rubber, what's the word for it, like razor, I guess. The best thing that I found was that. The second best thing I found was the rubber little like spacer thing that goes into the top of a GBA SP screen. Those like random little like rubber caps. I thought I had one around here, but I just cleaned my desk. Those are really great, but they're rubber, so when you push on them, you can actually actuate all the buttons at the same time, which is not great at all. Most games program against it, so I mean, it's not the end of the world, but it's not perfection, and this is pretty damn close to it, if you ask me. So I've been fiddling around with a lot of random stuff, and this seems to be the easiest, and it's really just random stuff around the house. So install that into your Game Boy, and tell me what you think. Thanks for watching this random video. I just thought I'd spread this knowledge, because I've been fiddling around with them for about 2 months now.